Iran and the UN nuclear watchdog will resume talks on Friday, more than 2 months after the previous failed round. Iran insists it only wants peaceful energy, but the West thinks a bomb is in the making. Hopes aren't high then for these negotiations, and all the while sanctions from the US and Europe continue to hit Iranian citizens hard. Let's go live to Tehran now, talk to a journalist and political commentator, Hamid Reza Emadi. Thanks for being on the programme. You're live on RT International. My name's Kevin Owen, talking to you there. Glad you can hear me. Good to see you. Your family, I gather, is among those feeling the brunt, along with the rest of the citizens, of the sanctions imposed on Iran. How particularly are you being affected, sir? Can you paint a brief picture for us?
Yeah, absolutely. My father went to the war in the 1980s, and what happened to him was when he returned home, he was diagnosed with PTSD. So for the past 3 decades, he's been receiving medication for the PTSD, and as well as he became a diabetic after a few years. And now, at that time, he was fighting in the war as a medic. Actually, he was not fighting in the war front. He was helping the injured. Now he's fighting for his medicine, for getting his medication. Why? Because of the sanctions. Now, the sanctions that the United States illegally has imposed on Iran are not banning the sales of drugs to Iran, but they are blocking any financial transactions with Iran. That means that the Iranian pharmaceutical companies cannot buy vital medicine from major pharmaceutical companies in the world.
Oh,
so people like my father, they're not getting the medication.
I understand. So these aren't just specific drugs you're talking about. This is affecting a whole raft, for instance, of drugs, just focusing on this little part of life. You can't even get them locally because the ingredients, for want of a better word, can't be imported.
Yeah, these are made in the European Union and in the United States. And it's not only diabetic people. You have 8,000 hemophiliac people in Iran who badly need those medicines, and they're not getting it because these medicines are being produced in the United States,
so as far as your dad goes,
Union, and because we can't buy them, they can't use it, and that's putting their life in danger.
I understand. So I just want to get a picture for our viewers of, we hear time and time again about the broader way people on the street are affected, but I just really wanted to focus on your family because you've so kindly come to be with us. How is this affecting your dad then? Is it affecting his lifespan?
Well, it's affecting the whole family. You know, it's affecting my dad because he can't get the medication that he needs. It's affecting the family because for the past 3 decades, we've been dealing with a man who is sick and who can't be cured because of the problems the problems are not becoming bigger because he's become older and weaker and more vulnerable. And if he can't get the medicines, then his life is in danger. So this is my particular story, but it's not only my father. And thousands of Iranians across the country, they have these problems. And even in Iraq, the chemical weapons that the West provided Saddam Hussein with, and Saddam Hussein used those chemical weapons against his own people in Iraq. A lot of people in Iraq have those problems. And in Iran, the problems are bigger because of the sanctions. The sanctions are affecting ordinary Iranians. The sanctions are not affecting the government. The sanctions are affecting ordinary Iranians. That's the message. And the world needs to know that. And I'm wondering why the Iranian government is not taking the United States to international courts because of that. Because the sanctions that the United States has imposed on Iran are genocidal sanctions. They're killing people. They're killing ordinary civilians. They're killing medics, retired people. They're killing people who have got nothing to do with Iran's nuclear program.
Well, give us other cases. You've talked about your dad there. So you've talked about your dad there. Give us some other cases where it's really biting hard.
Yeah, a lot of people in Iran, cancer patients, for instance, they're not getting the medication they need. And it's really dangerous for them. You know, they can't wait. And because of the financial transactions have been cut off between Iran and the West because of the sanctions, they can't get the medication. This is very simple.
In 10 seconds, what would your message be?
And the Americans and the Europeans who are paying taxes to the governments, they need to know that the governments are killing my people.
In 10 seconds, people. So in 10 seconds, what would your message be to the people that are imposing these sanctions?
The people who are imposing the sanctions, they need to know that this is not affecting the government. This is affecting the people. They are killing Iranian people. They are committing genocide against the Iranian people. And that's exactly what's happening on the ground. And the United Nations has shamelessly remained silent. The United Nations is practically doing nothing. It has lost its credibility.
Thank you for being on the programme, Hamid Reza Emadi, and we wish your dad well as well, of course, Tehran-based journalist and political commentator live from the Iranian capital.